Hey y'all, welcome to chair yoga for fall prevention or fall prevention using chairs. However you say it, we're going to get started. I'm going to stand up, move this chair out of the way. Just know I'm going to come back to the front of the room when we do that guided rest, relaxation, and that gratitude practice. So here we go. Always keep everything between the easy and ouch. If you don't like something, doesn't feel right in your body, don't do it. Don't do it. Again, that's my motto. Keep it between the easy and ouch, and I'm talking about that hospital ouch, okay? We don't want to go to the hospital. Not today. Not today, folks. Okay, now again, you can do this class seated or standing. I'm going to shift the camera a little bit just to make sure we got a good video going on here. And of course, it's going to be crooked, right? Right, of course. And let's get restarted again. So you're sitting up nice and tall in your chair, away from the back of the chair to engage those nice, tall posture muscles. When we're standing, try not to lock the knees. A little soft bend in the knees is really good. And if you look down at your feet, maybe there's like 2 fist distances apart with your feet or whatever feels comfortable, okay? Just make sure that we're not pointing the toes out towards the corners and when we begin here in our beginning places of our postures. Let's just place a hand low below the belly button and a hand above that. And let's breathe in and expand the belly outwards. And as we exhale, contract that belly button towards the spine. So here we go. Breathe in, belly big. And then exhale, belly button towards the spine. Now there is a lift of the chest also when we do this. So here we go. Breathe in, belly big. And exhaling. Listen to the breath through the back of the throat as you breathe in. And as you slowly breathe out. One more time. Breathe in and out. Very good. So we're going to start with shaking gong. That's to move lymphatic flow in our bodies. You can do this seated. You can do this standing. If you're doing this seated, maybe just alternate heels up and down or do both heels up and down at the same time. So let's start. So we're going to bounce the knees and then start shaking the hands, the arms. And as you breathe in, you breathe in. As you breathe out, you might hear a little, yeah? Okay, breathe in and out. Let's take it up. Again, do what you can with what you got today. Let's turn it to the side, turning from the thoracic spine and back to the center. Over to the other side. This is our warm-up portion of class. And back to the center. Let's do arms, letter T, palms down. Again, that's good for carpal tunnel, loosening those wrists. And then flip, palms up. This feels weird though, doesn't it? Very good. From here, bring the hands to the center and spin those wrists. If you're standing, maybe you're still bouncing. If you're seated, maybe you're just spinning the wrist. Either way is okay. And reverse. Very good. Now, if you're seated in the chair and you have arms on the side of the chair, just be mindful when we do the arm swings today, okay? Just kind of make sure you're not going to whack your arms on the armchairs. From here, cup the hands and swing. You're going at your own perfect pace today. So lubricating the shoulder joints. A little heavy arm swing here. Now, if you can, take the hands, tap the back of the back side or the shoulders and down. And if that doesn't happen, just keep doing the arm swinging, okay? Lubricating those shoulders, lessening that bursitis. Now, keep doing that, or maybe you can do alternate arm swings and maybe a little twist of the body. Again, you're going at your own perfect pace today. I'm going a little bit slower today. I've got a little sketchy knee business going on today, so I put my jump strap on to make it more accessible to teach class. Now keep doing the front and back. If you're standing though, maybe you can bring it out and across. So again, I'm kind of lubricating the spine here. If you need to bring the feet a little wider to have a better, weight bearing, feet into the floor, bigger base of stance, that might be good. Do one more, and then slow it down, bring it back to the center. Very good. From here, interlace the fingers and push the hands away and curve the spine to the back of the room. So standing or seated cat posture. Then let's place this kind of where the top of the head is. And then if you can go a little bit more sky high, a little bit more sky high.
I found this on the web.
Okay, my Apple Watch is talking to me. And then bring it down low. Inadvertently, we're doing a little bit of finger stretches going on here. So if you've got that osteoarthritis in the hands, be sweet, be kind. Once more, to the front, curve the spine to the back of the room, bend the knees if you're doing this standing, okay? And then bring it to where the top of the head. Again, whatever your own personal range of motion is here, maybe you can go a little bit more towards the sky. Maybe not. Very good. Bring those hands down. Shake the hands. Bend those knees. From here, whether you're seated or standing, let's step touch. You can use the chair if you need to. And if you're able to, wave the arms from hip to hip. A little kind of a crunching of the side body when you do that. Keep breathing. We do this warm-up before we do our strengtheners. We also do an assessment of our balance. Let's do two more. 2 and 1. Come back to the center. Let's cup those hands once again. Let me step back here a little bit. And we'll do the spinal cord breathing. Again, another opportunity for that pelvic tilt, that cat-cow movement. So inhale, elbows up, chest forward. And then exhale, curve the spine, bend the knees if you're standing, curve your back to the back of the room, back of the chair. And again, inhale, elbows up, and exhale. Big old noisy breath. Let's do that again. Inhale, elbows up, and exhaling. Now let's turn over to the side on this next one. Inhale, elbows up, up, up. Little twist there, getting into those lungs. Exhale, back to that nice cat back. Other side. Here we go. Inhale, twist up. Woo. And exhaling. Let's do a yoga breath. Inhale, circle, sweep arms up. And then bring the hands down to heart center. Very good. Next, we'll do the Qigong detox. We also incorporate the big 6 lymphatic drainage in with that. So, again, maybe feet a little bit wider. We're going to take hands above and below the collarbone and stroke across. And maybe you're tapping across. So this is area number 1 in the big 6 formula. Let's do the other side. Again, stroke across above and below the collarbone. Notice if it feels tender or not. And again, optional, you can tap across. Very good. The next place is the neck. So we'll take the hands in front and in back of the ear, stroke down the side of the jawline, and then down the side of the neck. And then you get those fingers back here in the back of the head too, because we have a lot of lymphatic drainage. So this is to lessen brain fog. So we get rid of that cellular waste that accumulates when we go sleeping at night. So we got to clear the pathways for that to happen. You can also tap, but I like to stroke on this one. Let's do the other side, again, in front and in back of the ears. So you go down that jawline and go down the side of the neck. Now we're not pressing too hard, all right? So just a nice stroke across. Very good. Next is the armpit. So you can make it like a little right angle going on with your hand, and then, press it into your armpit with that thumb and the pectorals, because you get there's a lot of lymph node nests going on here. When men and women get breast cancer, they check for in the pectorals and the armpit, in the chest wall, to see if cancer has moved to that. So we're kind of moving that waste out of those lymph nodes. So the only way to do that is with movement, okay? Our blood pumps with our heart to move the blood through the body, but we don't have natural pumps going on with the lymphatic fluids in our bodies. You can also tap, 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 that kind of thing. Very good. Let's do the other side. So here we go. So what I like to do, because I had heart surgery about 2 years ago to get rid of my AFib, they went in through my ribs, so I have scars there on the side body. So I will, in addition to when I'm here and I think about it, I'll tap those areas too to encourage better lymphatic flow in those scar tissue areas. So just kind of know that if you've had surgeries or had to have stitches, that kind of thing, this is a nice thing to kind of do to keep lymphatic fluids flowing in your body. All right, so next area, find the ribs, the bottom of the ribs. That's where the diaphragm sits. And I just kind of like to go right here in the center and just kind of pull, stroke across a little bit here. Sometimes, if you're feeling some challenges breathing, sometimes that diaphragm is like stuck up underneath the ribs there. So I just give it a little massage. This is part of our abdominal cavity that we need to stimulate with lymphatic flow. So, just kind of pat across or chop, and also wiggle up and down. So, the entire abdominal cavity maybe go in a clockwise manner. It's supposed to stimulate better digestion, by the way. Very good. And then I'm going to set my feet out, turn my feet out a little bit, do the same seated on the chair. So where the leg inserts into the torso, that little crease there is called the inguinal crease, also known in Tai Chi as the qua. We're going to take the sides of the hands and chop the qua. You can also stroke across, but, mixed company, we don't do that. And I'm a little bit more vigorous, a little bit more pressure going on when I do this one. Just, that's how I do this. All right, now this next one, maybe you want to be seated on the chair, or maybe you can do this standing, depending on your balance, right? So if you want to quickly transfer seated on the chair, please do so, but it's the back of the knee. So I'm going to clap my hands, get some heat going on with my palms while my knees are bent. And let's put some heat on the kneecaps. Be sweet, be kind, okay? And then you can transition that to up on the fingertips to stimulate those acupressure points. Let's see, the stomach meridian, the gallbladder meridian. Let's tap, tap, tap the outsides for lessening knee pain. And then let's stroke back behind the knee to get lymphatic fluids moving from the knees, the side of the legs with that thumb, top of the calves, bottom of the hamstrings. Very good. Yay. Clap the hands again. Woo. All right. From here, just kind of shake those legs. Shaking those legs, stomping the feet, that helps to lessen leg cramps. Do that daily. And then kind of march in place there. Hands can also be on the chair. Do what you can. Maybe it's heel lifts instead. Again, whatever you need to do, all right? Now I'm going to shift over to one chair and lift the leg up and rotate my ankle in towards the center for ankle rotation, which is very integral for having better balance. And then rotate it out. Maybe some snap, crackle, pops going on here. And let's point and flex. You don't have to do this fast, by the way. So these warm-up sequences are designed to promote relaxation, flexibility, and overall well-being, and to get us warmed up before we do that work, okay? That work. All right, I'm going to shift over and do the other leg. So again, we're going to draw a circle inward. Ooh, big old snap there. But before we sit down and reverse, let's do an assessment of our balance. And it's a Tai Chi chair movement called Golden Rooster. We also do it in standing Tai Chi, but the chair version is you get to hang onto the chair and release. So I'm going to come over to the outside of the chair, and I've turned a little bit towards the corner, the back corner of the chair. So I'm going to add an angle here. I'm going to bend both knees and then kind of roll my tailbone under, and I'm sinking my way into the leg that's closest to the chair. the outside arm, bending that elbow, and then lifting that outside leg, pointing the toe down. So I'm noticing the dance of the foot, because I have a dance of the foot going on with my balanced foot. And do I hang on to my chair? Do I feel tension going on in the hip? Do I need to have my toe touching on the floor? You can do the same posture seated in the chair. Bent elbow, knee up, point the toe down. Same side arm and leg, and release. From here, if you're seated, you're going to do wide shoulder circles. If you're standing, you're going to do hip circles. And then reverse. We're kind of doing a movement in between our assessment, okay? Very good. Now let's go over and do the other leg, the other side. So again, bend those knees, roll that tailbone under. We're going to shift the weight into the leg closest to the chair with a bent knee, okay? Bend the elbow up, belly button tight, bring the knee up, point that toe down. Again, notice, can you release the chair? Do you need the chair? Do you feel stuff going on? Notice what you notice or don't notice. And release. Very good. Next, we're going to come to the chair and do our strengthening movements. You'll need either a TheraBand strap or a yoga strap today and a block. And I'm looking to see how this is in the camera. Very good. Okay. So to start with, let's take that. I'm going to bring my block out to the side. Let's take the bottom of the strap and step our foot into the strap. And let's see here. I'm going to raise the camera, but we're going to be pulling and pushing into the bottom of the yoga strap. Okay. So it's the big toe hold that we do for, again, building bones. Oh, that's better. Now you can see my hallway. Pull, push. And I'm going to bring that other leg out to the side. Now I'm at the edge of my chair here. So we hold this about 30 seconds. Now, if this is too much for your grip strength, you can get those looped yoga straps, or bring your hands up the strap and wrap your wrists and then re-engage, pull, push. So when you contract the big muscle groups, that helps to stimulate bone growth. When we have big holes in our bones, that usually means we have osteopenia or osteoporosis. The smaller the holes are, the smaller what they call the porosity, the better that it is. You have smaller holes when you're younger, yeah? And due to whatever issues, as we, go more towards being older, sometimes we lose height. It usually means a compression fracture in the spine, or maybe, in the spine typically, yeah. And maybe you have a parent where you've noticed, they're kind of like rolling towards the floor, yeah, with their upper back, with their bodies. All right, beautiful. Now we're going to shift this out to the side and then if you need to move your behind, do that. Pull, push, toes towards the sky, maybe the other leg out a little bit. Breathing in, breathing out. Again, we got to stay here about 30 seconds for that bone building benefit. Plus, you get a little extra here. You get a little forearm activation into the elbows, into the upper arms, a little bit of the upper back. If you're really vigorously pulling it towards you and then pushing it away. So there's that great dynamic tension happening here. Hopefully it's not painful. It might feel challenging though. You can always return your attention back to the breath. Like breathe in, listen to that breath going in through the nose and then out through the nose. Let's do that breath one more time. Here we go. Breathe in and out. Beautiful. Woo! Release the strap, the favorite part of that pose. Clap your hands. Little bit of life back into the hands after that, yeah? Because if you were like me, you were like pulling on that strap vigorously. I hope you were. All right, let's do the other side. At first it's forward, okay? Remember that. And you're, again, pull, push. And I'm going to bring the other leg out a little bit. And then kind of really pull my hands more towards my body so I can squeeze that upper back musculature. So I like to get 2 for the price of 1 when I do yoga postures. I'm going to bring it a little bit more towards the ball of my foot. Feels a little different when you position it in a different place. And again, just listen to the breath going in and out. So that's a tool and a technique to stay in the present moment, to listening and feeling the sensation of the breath coming into the body and out of the body. So let's do that together for 2 breaths. So here we go. Breathe in and breathe out. And again, inhaling and exhaling. Beautiful. Stay here just for a few more seconds. So when you listen to the breath, you can't think about the past. You can't think about the future. You're in the now. You're in the present moment. So again, that's a tool for maybe lessening a stressful situation or anxiety, to be here now, be in the present moment. I know you hear that all over the place, right? What does that mean? Okay, you pay attention to the current whatever's going on. All right, now we're going to shift it out to the side. And again, you may have to move your behind on the chair depending how the behind falls on the chair when you do this, okay? Pull, push. And again, I'm going to bring that other leg out a little bit. Ooh, it's hot here in Texas. It's 90 degrees with a high case of humidity. So it probably feels hotter. I imagine it's, I don't know, Alaska. So one of our people here in the class today is from Alaska, so I'm kind of curious. They probably have pretty good, less temperatures than 90, I would think, maybe, depending where they are in Alaska, if it's on the coast or if it's more inland, yeah? My parents, when I was an itty-bitty kid, took a camper trailer and drove from upper Minnesota in the back roads in Canada to Alaska. It was like a 1-month trip. And my brother got to go. I didn't get to go. I was too young. So I got to stay with relatives. But I get to hear about it all the time. And release. Very good. And you know what? Release the hands too, because it's like, wow, were you holding on to it tight? I think you were. Clap the hands. Very good. I'm going to put that strap to the side. We're going to do sumo stomp. So you can use your hand underneath the knee pit. Bring it out to the side and in. Maybe you do a little vibrational energy into the floor. Maybe not. Then see what you can do without the hand guidance. See how high, comfortably, you're able to do this. Again, we're kind of working with that range of motion in that hip socket. Notice if there's some catchy areas. Yeah, maybe you need to do less. Maybe. Let's do one more. Very good. And bring it in. Let's do the other side. So again, maybe you use the hand to begin with to kind of notice, what's going on, yeah? And what kind of stomping you want to or not. And maybe you can do it without the hand. Notice if one side feels vastly different or subtly different than the other. 58 degrees and sunny. Oh, I'm jealous. I could read that from across the room. Oh, I'm talented. It's my trifocals, folks. Thanks for sharing that. Let's do 2 more. 58. When was the last time we saw 58? January? All right, and bring it back to the center. Let's kind of shake those legs, stomp those feet. Again, we're sitting up tall here. I always have to encourage tall posture. And let's do some foot patterns, shall we? So we're going to bring a leg forward, out to the side, forward to the chair. Other side, forward, out to the side, forward to the chair. Let's continue that. Why do we do this? Again, to work with the brain and to notice, what's going on with the various places in our body that maybe one side feels a whole lot different than the other. Last one. All right, now let's scooch back. Let's do some knee strengtheners before we do the hamstring, quadriceps, behind strengtheners. So we do this in our chair Tai Chi class also. So just kind of know this is kind of works for both classes. So bring your back of the foot up. And if you need to lift the back of the leg off the chair, please do so. So knee strengthener here, and then lower hover. Don't touch the floor, in other words, and then point the toes. And then release it down. Let's do the other side. So flex that foot, lift the leg if you need to, toes towards you, woo! And then lower hover, and then point the toes, and release it down. Other side, here we go, flex that foot. If you want to, flex the hand too. Some folks want to do that, and then lower, and then point both the toes and the hands forward. Point, 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 and release. I love it. Other side, here we go, flex that foot, maybe flex the hand. Okay, that's good for that carpal tunnel, by the way. And then lower it, and then point the toe, point the fingers, and release. Let's do one more set. Here we go. Like really put some oomph into it, like, okay? And then lower. Well, that was kind of spicy. Point the toes and release. Other side, last time. Here we go. Flex that foot and lower. And then point those toes and lower. Beautiful. Come forward on your chair. Clap your hands. Rub those palms. That might have been spicy for maybe the behind back musculature. So what you can do, you can use the back of the hands or the palms and just kind of rub those high hips, the kidneys, or maybe you want to pound a little bit. I'm hinged forward here. And maybe you want to do the side booty. That works. Okay, grab your yoga block, grab your yoga strap or your TheraBand. Now you're going to put yourself into the strap, which means you either use the buckle or you tie a shoelace bow. I'm going to use the buckle today. Man, that's an awful long strap. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. If any of y'all ever come to Port Neches, Texas, let me know. I'd be happy to grab a cup of coffee with y'all. I've already done that for a couple of people that have been in the area. Love to meet y'all. Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to have 2 fist distances apart, okay? And maybe a little bit closer. I'm going to do a little bit closer. Take your time, and then once you get there, press into the floor. Just kind of notice how that feels when you press the feet into the floor, and then gently press to the outsides of the room, whether it's that stretchy band or the yoga strap. So I like the stretchy band when we do the pulsy out business, the seated clams, but I like it when we do just the general strengthening with the yoga strap. So it's good to have both if you can manage that, yeah? But you can kind of simulate the stretchy band business by being able to lie on your side body and do the clamshells laying on the side with a little 1 or 2 pound hand weight. And you lay that on the side of the thigh. So I can show that to you all after we stop recording, any of those that are interested in that. And yes, we're holding the pose. How about that? Boy, howdy. And release that. Release all that tension, okay? Good, good. Now, we're going to take one of our feet, heel toe it in, and kind of like kissing the foot to the side of the other foot, whether you got the TheraBand or the strap. Now, again, press both feet into the floor. You may have to like put your hands on the back side of the chair. And then this leg that we have kind of going at an angle here, press it to where it's like trying to reach the floor. Now maybe you need to stabilize the other leg so it doesn't go with it, yeah? I'm going to use my opposite hand to stabilize the stable leg. Stabilize the stable leg. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. And I'm just like pressing vigorously towards the earth, going at that little angle there. Again, it's good stuff here. At least that's the story I'm telling y'all. Woo! And again, if it turns to be spicy, what do I say? Breathe in through the nose. Listen. Be here now. Here we go. Oh my. And exhale. And again, breathe in and out and release. Yay for releasing. Okay, come back to the center. Just kind of stomp those feet up and down in the strap. We're not going to move that strap. And well, if you can, wiggle them. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Of course. All right, back to feet on the floor. Let's do the other side. So we're going to heel toe the other one in. So we're going to kiss that side of the foot into the other leg, and then press the stable leg into the floor. And again, maybe take that opposite hand, really press into that stabilization leg. Other hand can go back behind you to where you have a nice tall posture. Now, if you haven't started doing that yet, we're taking the leg out to the side, press it to where it wants to go to the floor, but don't let the other one go with it, okay? Woo! Feel that consistent tension building up. Yay. Breathe in. Breathe out. Ooh, this feels good on my spine. You know, like I said, I've got that scoliosis spine. I'm trying to be really tall here. I'm pressing that back hand into the chair, pressing my other hand firm into my stable leg, pressing the other leg towards the floor. Oh my gosh, here we go. Yay. Woo. And release. Yay, that's over. Or is it? I don't know. Bring the foot back in. Take your strap off. Again, that's one of your homeworks. This is homework number 1, to do a variation of clamshell, whether it's with a yoga strap, TheraBand, lying on your side body, with or without a weight. Do that, okay? That's for keeping that musculature strong. Let's do our 6 essential spinal movements before we move on. Then we'll use our block after that. So I'm at the edge of my chair, my squeaky chair, of course, right? We've done this already, seated, standing cat-cow, but let's do it again. Let's breathe in, belly big. We're going to come hinging forward first for cow. So I like to kind of bring my elbows out and kind of like draw myself forward when I do that. So it's kind of like a squeaky door. You're hinging forward, the entire, from the hips to the top of the head. So don't drop the chin towards the chest or chin towards the sky. Just everything nice and moving forward in one plane, I guess you call it. One line of body direction. I'm trying to think of the words. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Well, that's never a surprise, is it? All right, and then come back on up to tall seated mountain. Now here's where it might get spicy in the pelvic tilt, which is the cat part. So curve the spine to the back of the arm. Hang on, hang on. Now maybe that's not so spicy, but when we come out of the tilt, some folks feel like, woo, some stuff going on, yeah? So slowly come back out of that tilt. So you're untucking the tailbone to how you regularly sit on the chair. To where like maybe you can envision the tailbone flaring out, yeah? So it's a little pelvic tilt forward. Let's do the cow again. So hinge forward. Sorry, I'm not cueing the breath. I'm just doing the talky thing today. Come back up to tall seated mountain. You know what? Just keep breathing. Just keep breathing. And let's curve to the back of the room. Some people go, Gail, we're supposed to inhale or exhale on that. I go, well, you had to ask me, and therefore I'm going to forget. Just keep breathing. And then slowly, slowly, don't hold your breath. Keep breathing. Come out of that pelvic tilt. Ooh. And then, again, that tailbone's kind of flipped, where your kind of tailbone is out and you're hinged forward a little bit. So yay, cat-cow, extension and flexion of the spine. That's good stuff. That's good for low back pain. So let's do unsupported twist. So we're going to bring the arms into a letter W, feet firm into the floor, knees apart. And again, we've got squeezy shoulders going on here. You probably felt that in the big toe hold, a similar feeling. So what we're going to do, from like the collarbone down to the pelvic bone, we're twisting over to one side. It's also called turning from the qua. So we keep the chin aligned with the chest in this particular twist. So here we go. First, breathe in. As we exhale, contract all that abdominal wall there, and then twist, 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 twist. Ooh, sometimes we lose the outside shoulder. Just re-squeeze it. That's okay. And hopefully your knees didn't buckle in. So that's what usually happens. People's knees like come in or go more out. Try to keep them the same, whatever you do here. From here, breathe in, belly big, and come back to the center and release, because we were holding that squeezy shoulder a lot. Let's do the shuffle of the shoulders. Go whatever speed you need to do. It's another method for moving lymphatic flow, okay? Very good. And go back to letter W, re-squeeze, re-squeeze. Breathe in. Get that abdominal wall contracted or braced, as they like to call it in Pilates. Shift over to the other side. Did you lose your outside shoulder? If you did, re-engage. Breathe in, belly big. Exhale back to the center and release. Again, just some little soft alternating shoulder rolls here to release that built-up tension in the spine. And the other one. Very good. Grab your yoga block. You knew that was happening, right? Let's see. So we did extension and flexion, twist, twist. We need to do lateral flexion. So grab your yoga block. Do the medium width in between the legs. Softly heel toe those feet in. Tall posture. And we'll do our side lateral flexion with the yoga block. Now we're not super squeezing. We're just kind of holding it in place today. So let's do the yoga breath. That means inhale, circle, sweep arms up, and then place a hand down on the chair, maybe back behind you. You can be on your fist or your wrist. And that hand that's in the air, reach up a little bit more, wiggle those fingers. Belly button tight, abdominal wall contracted as you kind of reach up and bring the side body over. Now I'm bending that back elbow to kind of facilitate this leaning over. So this is my pacemaker side. It doesn't go very far, but that's, because I don't want my pacemaker to move. My pacemaker moves a little bit. I know that's gross, right? Bring it back on up and float it down. Woo! Little shoulder shrugs here. So I got my pacemaker because I had a super low heart rate, like 32 beats per minute, and pauses in between the beats. So they didn't want the heart not to kick back in. So that's why I got it here about 13 years ago. Let's do that again. Inhale, circle, sweep arms up, and then bring that other arm down. Again, kind of squeeze that shoulder, bent elbow, hand on the chair. Inhale, reach up, squeeze the block a little bit, and then exhale, lean that side body over. That way our legs stay in place when we do this with the yoga block. I kind of like that. Inhale, back on up and down. Very good. From here, walk those feet in, squeeze that block. Now, we did this last week, and you may want to bring your block a little bit more towards you. So maybe you want a little bit more playing area. If you weren't here last week, well, this is going to be new to you. If you were here last week, well, this won't be new. Squeeze the block. Now, the objective is don't let that block move. As we maybe it's moving a little bit. And release. Oh my gosh. Now we're going to take it the big width. So I'm going to have to heel toe my feet out. And, I'm trying to have some of it be up. So I'm really kind of digging into the side body. But again, strengthening the leg hip musculature. So feet firm into the floor. Ooh, when you do that, feel the contraction of those quadriceps. Yeah. Feet firm. And again, a little bit wider hands and softly, more soft tapping here. And then squeeze some more, maybe a little bit harder tapping. Squeeze some more, a little bit more. Woo! Slow it down. Keep the squeeze though. Make it softer. Keep the squeeze. And release. Yay. That was not very much fun. Shake those legs. Wiggle those legs. Maybe pound the hips a little bit because maybe that was just a little, just right. All right, let's stand up. I'm going to move my gear out of the way. So let me place it here to the side. And I'm going to get my 2 chairs ready. Now, you don't have to have 2 chairs to do this next part. Just know you need to have a chair and a wall. And this is where I encourage everybody, if they can, to stand to do these things. But, sometimes that just doesn't happen. So if you're doing this seated, you got to be really at the edge and hanging onto the chair with one hand. We're going to come up on the ball of the foot. And you know what? I'm going to point it out at an angle a little bit. Let me see. I'm going to hike up my leg here a little bit. And then with the other leg, my leg is straight right now, but let's bend the knee. We're sinking into the balance leg. And we're basically bringing the knee in and the knee out. So we're oiling that hip joint. Again, not much weight. If you could lift your foot off the floor, it's not much weight into the ball of the foot. Again, leg in, leg out. Leg in, leg out. And then just kind of walk in place. We're going to do the other side. Again, bend the knees. In the balance leg, the knee is bent. You're really grounded into the floor. And I'm going to step that foot out to the side. It's a nice little angle there up on the ball of the foot. So the knee is out, and then the knee is in. And then out. Again, you're not weight bearing on this leg. Maybe you need to pull on your leg pant to make sure you're not doing weight bearing on the oiling of the hip leg. Very good. Let's do 2 more. 2 and 1 and then come up, stand out of that. Shake those legs a little bit, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And bring my pant leg down there a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn my chair to the side and this other one out of the way for the moment. And make sure I can see this in the camera. Okay, I'm going to move it a little bit more forward. You don't need to see the front of the chair. All right, so the leg that's closest to me, you pick which side you want to start with, all right? And we're going to be stepping that foot back, come down on the ball of the foot and on the heel. So it's straight legs to begin with. The forward foot, I'm going to kind of hop it towards the back of the chair. Now with the straightened back leg, keep that one straightened as best you can. You're going to bend the other knee towards the back of the chair. Now I tend to lean forward when I do this, so I always got to think about, okay, shoulders over the hips. I'm definitely going to feel some business going on in that hip complex, yeah? Okay, same side arm as the leg that stepped back can go up. Maybe the other arm can go up, but for me, I get the wiggly foot when that happens, so I always have a hand gently placed on top of the chair, and definitely feel a little back bend element happening here. A little bit of the upper chest opening a little bit deeper, breathing into those lungs when you do that standing back bend. Bring the hand down, step the leg forward. Now, let's do the other side. Step the other foot back, about that same distance. Ball the foot, come down to the heel, kind of hop, wiggle the other leg towards the front of the chair. Now, if this feels kind of constricting, you can always take that front foot, heel toe out a little wider so the hips are not kind of like, you know, one hip forward, one hip back. We're going to take that forward leg, bend the knee, and again, think about, what am I doing here with the upper body? Am I leaning forward? Think about, okay, maybe I need to think about shoulders over the hips. Same side arm raises up as the leg that has stepped back. Maybe you test the waters. Can you do both arms or not? Do you notice a dance, a wiggliness of the foot? Again, this is a variation of Warrior One posture in yoga, where you have one hip forward, one hip back. Maybe a wider stance, maybe up on the ball of the foot instead of the heel. But this one gets your muscles really activated in the leg that's stepping back. Take that back foot, step it forward. Woo! Just kind of move those feet a little bit, you know, just a little walk in place. Let's do that, but let's take it back a little bit further. So here we go. That original distance, and then go back a little bit further. So here's where I'm really leaned out. I'm going to bend the knee towards the back of the chair, then adjust my shoulder over my hip. So again, I might feel a little bit more generous business going on here. Same side arm goes up or not. Maybe it doesn't. So seated, you can take your bun off the chair, bring the leg back behind you to do this posture if you're doing the seated version of this. All right, we're going to take that back foot, step it forward. I'm going to show the seated version of this on the other side. So I'm going to cue this for the standing. So step the other foot back. If you're doing the seated version, you're on the side of the chair, bringing that foot way back behind you. And unfortunately, for the seated version, the heel is lifted, okay? So you don't get as much benefit, but you do get a good benefit. Whatever leg you step back, same side arm goes up. If you're seated, firm foot into the floor, so you activate the bent knee, the one that's going to the back of the chair. And release. Next is the sciatica soother. So with the sciatica soother, there is that pelvic tilt element that's going on to kind of help floss that nerve, okay? We go back to the original stepping back distance. Make sure it's still in the camera. And again, take the other foot towards the back. Now I'm going to take that back leg and lift the heel, and then take the behind and curl it under. So there's a little bit more forward tension going on with the quadricep. Same side arm goes up, and I'm just wiggling and wiggling and wiggling on this one. Woo! Very good, very good. And release. Bring it to the back of the chair. Let's do the other side. Step it back that first distance, and then bring that other foot to the back of the chair. Lift up on that back of the heel, and you're on the ball of the foot. Then you're going to take your booty and roll it under, tuck it under, and then same side arm up into the air. Very good, very good. Bring the arm down, bring the leg down, and from here, shake those legs, wiggle those feet, shake and wiggle, shake and wiggle. All right, so that's all good for our balance and all that kind of stuff. We're going to do only 2 leg swings today because I want to go into a little bit detail on the 3-point step. So we're taking the chair and standing behind it, and we're just going to be taking a leg out to the side and in. So if you want to go through the entire sequence, that's going to be one of our previous videos because we're adding some different content today. So we're going to just bring it out and in. I have a little flex of my foot happening here. You do 8 to 10. I don't think I'm going to make it to 8 today. I think 6 is it. Last one. And bring it in. Bend those knees a little bit. Kind of do that little counter movement to release tension in the body. And let's do the other one. So here we go. Bring it out and in. Notice if it feels different. And 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. A little stepping motion here. So the other one that we're going to do, we're going to address the psoas muscle, PSOAS, if you want to know more information about that particular muscle. The heel is going to be out, toe in. So we're going to bring the leg out and across with that same foot movement. So you may want to be a little bit more far away from the back of the chair. So heel out, toe in, bring it out and across. Now you don't have to go too far to feel this, okay? Whew. 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Very good. A little walking motion in between. And let's get the other one. So heel out, toe in. And I'm going to bring it out and across. I'm going to step back a little bit. I'm going to hit that chair. Toes hitting on the chair is not a fun feeling. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. All right. 3-point step. So, again, I'm getting a little bit more training in the standing Tai Chi, so we're going to try to do this without breaks in between. So that's the difference between last week's class and this week's class. We're going to bend both knees, and we're sinking down, okay? And then you kind of roll the tailbone's out, and you roll it, you tuck it under. And then when you bring the foot forward, it's heel down, toes up. Let me move that chair out of the way a little bit. So there's no weight bearing on the forward foot. So we're really building up this balance, this strength in the leg that's doing the weight bearing. And then bring it back to the ankle. Now, I want you to look down and do this next one. You just bring it straight out, straight out. So it's not forward straight out. It's straight out to the side. Again, you're not weight bearing on that leg, okay? It's just barely touching it. And bring it in. Now point the toe back behind you. Barely any weight bearing back behind you, okay? And bring it in. We're staying here. Heel forward, toe up. Very good. Back to the ankle. Straight out. Look at it if you need to. Back to the ankle. Hello, standing hip. And then point it back behind you. Straight leg, if you can, back behind you. Now the straight leg, rest the back of the heel on the floor gently, toes up, back to the ankle, straight leg out to the side, toes up, ankle down, all right, and then point it back behind you, straight leg, and back behind you. All right, come out of that, the leg closest to the chair, swing that leg to get that tension out, kind of built up there a little bit. And then let's move over to the other side of the chair. Do the other one. And I'm more pointed towards you this time. So bend both knees, okay, and kind of roll that tailbone under, get sink and settled into the standing leg. And we're going to bring the other leg out. So we're resting on that back of the heel, toes up. So it's a straight leg. And bring it to the ankle. Very good. Now look at this one. Make sure it's going straight out to the side. Barely any weight. You can lift your foot off the ground. It's not clunking or plunking down into the leg weight. Back to the ankle. Point the toe behind you, straight leg. I tend not to straighten that back leg, so I got to think about that. And then back to the ankle. Stay here. We're still in the pose. Heel down, toe up, straight leg. Back to the ankle. Straight out to the side. Look at it if you need to. back to the ankle, and then back behind you. Point that toe. Squeeze that bun. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Back to the ankle. One more time, I promise. Heel down, toe up, straighten that leg. Excellent. Back to the ankle, out to the side, back to the ankle, and point that toe back behind you. Squeeze the booty if you need to. Back to the ankle. All right, come out of that. You should feel lots of pressure on the balance leg, yes? Let's swing it out. Heart rate probably went up on that because that's a lot of big muscle groups doing lots of work. Whether you had to use the chair, you could do this without the chair, or needed the chair. I need the chair. Okay, beautiful. So next is walking forwards and backwards. You know, if I were to add a fourth homework assignment, do you know which one that would be? That would probably be the 3-point step. Okay? All right. So I got my chair's kind of close today. But we're going to, heel toe forward, and then toe heel back, find a wall. Now switch the feet. The other foot is going to be forward, and you're going to take the furthest back leg, shift your weight forward, and heel toe, heel toe. I'm hanging on to the chair, folks. Toe heel, toe heel, toe heel. Now we only do like a sample here in class of this walking forwards and backwards. You need to do this a little bit longer when you do the homework. Shift forward, take that back foot, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, and then toe heel, toe heel, toe heel. Beautiful. All right, next is, that was homework number 2. Next is sit to stand, homework number 3. If we were to do a fourth homework, that would be the 3-point step drill, okay? 4 homework assignments. Oh my gosh. All right, so if you're new to class, look, I'm putting my hand down when I sit down. Notice what you do when you sit down in a chair. What are your movement patterns, okay? I'm not saying that they're wrong or right. I just want you to notice what you do. I'm going to scoot this chair forward. Now I've got carpet, so I feel pretty secure here. But what you're going to do, you don't have carpet, put the chair up against the wall and the other chair in front of you. So typically what you do for sit to stand is hands on the shoulders and stand up. Now, notice your feet. Are they turned out to the side? Are they pointed forward? Notice what you notice, okay? And I'm not saying one's good or bad. I'm going to have to look that up to see which one is like the proper procedure. But let's come on down. So are you looking, or do you have the confidence to come down? To know that that chair is going to be there, right? That's why we do it up against the wall, yeah? And then continue. Up and down, up and down. So I'm going to move mine to the wall. Again, do your own perfect pace here. If you need to take a break, that's okay. You can go slower. The objective is, you want to be able to easily lower and raise up off the toilet, easily lower up and down stairs. This is the mechanism for doing it. Maybe you have to practice with hands on the chair. That's okay, all right? Just know that. You got to start somewhere. If you can't do hands on the shoulders and raise up and lower, that's okay, because this is the mechanism for building that lower body strength to avoid falls. Heart rate should be kicking up too. Woo! And let's do one more wherever you are. All right, now I'm going to come up to the front of the room. Y'all get kind of settled into that chair a little bit. And I told you I was going to come up to the room near the end of the class for that guided rest and relaxation. So I'm going to bring my legs a little bit apart and kind of settle my booty into the chair. Woo! Notice that heart rate's probably like kicking up, yeah? So I invite you to get comfortable. This is our guided rest and relaxation practice. It's part of the 5 tools that we use in Veterans Yoga Project. Breathing, meditation, mindful movement, guided rest and relaxation, and that gratitude practice. It's our trauma-sensitive yoga practice and our trauma-sensitive Tai Chi practice too, since I'm doing that for y'all too. So maybe you're noticing the heart rate is going down a little bit. Let's try to encourage it to go down a little bit more. We're going to do what's called the elongated exhale. And it's as simple as this. We're going to breathe in to me, clap into a count of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We pause for just a second, and then we'll slowly exhale to a count of 5. We'll pause at the bottom of the breath, and then inhale again to a count of 4. Now what you can do is maybe gaze your eyes down at the floor, or maybe close your eyes if you're comfortable with that, or keep them wide open. That works too. But do whatever breath is comfortable for you. So we're going to get started. So together, and again, maybe you need to wiggle a little bit, get a little bit more comfortable in that chair or that couch, wherever you're getting comfy today. And let's breathe in, count of 4. And then slowly, slowly exhale. That was to a count of 5, by the way. And again, breathe in, belly big. And then slowly exhale. Let's do that again. Breathe in, and make everything get big. Slowly, slowly exhale. Once again, breathe in, belly and chest arise. Belly and chest falls. Beautiful. Maybe rest your hands in your lap. Wiggle those shoulders just a little bit. Maybe walk the feet out a little bit more. Maybe cross at the ankles. Again, however it feels comfortable for you today at this moment. Just notice the breath. Now, we're not going to change it or anything. Just notice, what does it feel like here to breathe in? So breathe in. And what does it feel like here to breathe out? Notice the quality of your breath. Notice the movement of the different places in the body as you inhale and as you exhale. And I'm going to put you on a little guided journey here. Now, again, maybe you want to soften your eyes and maybe gaze down at the floor, or maybe you're comfortable with closing the eyes. Either way is okay, yeah? So I want you to imagine in your brain, you're on this clear, crisp, sandy beach. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. You're on this beach blanket. You've got an overhead umbrella, and you have the appropriate amount of shade to feel comfortable sitting on this beach blanket. And again, you're noticing how clean the beach is. You see the water coming towards you and then receding away. It kind of matches your breath. So as you breathe in, the water comes towards you. And as you exhale, it recedes away. Again, that nice rhythmic movement, it matches your breath. Now you're hearing down the way, maybe the kids playing, going in and out of the water, and maybe you hear the overhead birds, their little seagull, their little bird sounds. So notice the bird sounds. Notice the laughter of the kiddos down the way. Notice that sound of the ocean softly coming towards you and receding away. Good. Now from here in your imagination, imagine you're looking out over the ocean's horizon, and you're seeing all these beautiful sunset colors, the yellows, the golds, the oranges, the pinks. And it's just very kind of serene and calming. And then you go back and you notice the horizon again. The colors have now changed to the nighttime colors, the blues, the blacks, the grays, the purples, all those deep, cool, relaxing colors. Now that you're lying on this beach blanket, you're taking your eyes skyward and you're noticing the stars starting to pop out, the planets starting to pop out. Maybe you see your favorite star constellation. And as you take your gaze into the night sky, you see the Milky Way. And one of the things that you notice as you're here, as you breathe in, as you breathe out, the air is crisp and clear. Good. Just take a few moments to be in this space, just kind of imagining, visualizing your favorite star combination. Once again, maybe hearing the water coming towards you softly and away as you breathe in, as you breathe out. Good. From here, let's come back into the now, back into the present moment. So I invite you to wiggle those fingers, wiggle those toes, maybe move the head a little bit side to side. If you're kind of way back in your chair, this is the time to kind of scooch forward, come more towards the edge of your chair, feet wide. And let's just do a few wide body circles just to bring a little bit of motion back into the body. We've hopefully have slowed down that heart rate from that sit to stand. Oh, my chair squeaks. And then let's reverse. There may be some spicy areas here, and what you kind of do is kind of go back and forth in that area of spice, and then continue on your upper body wide circles. And of course, this is kind of helping us in our pelvic bow area too, because we're moving out of the pelvic bow, that low spine. While we're here, come back up to a tall seated mountain posture, hands on the legs and curve to the back of the room. So a little cat back there, very softly coming back up to tall seated posture, bend the elbows out and come for that forward fold or that cow posture. And then let's come back up to tall seated posture. So I invite you to turn your head over to one side. Notice what you notice here. And then back to the heart center, looking over the other shoulder. Might be hearing some crinkly things here. And then back to the center. Very good. We'll do our gratitude practice now. So you can stack the hands, place them here at chest level, maybe palms together, or maybe hands resting on your lap. But whatever you choose, I do invite you to drop your chin towards your chest in gratitude at just showing up today. And let's think about one thing. I invite you to think about one thing that you're grateful for, or maybe that idea of gratitude, okay? Bring that, clasp it, place it into your heart space just for a moment here. Very good. And then you may keep your chin towards your chest or lift your chin to gaze forward with eyes opened or closed as I say our traditional sayings to end our class today. So the light in me honors and respects the light in you. Let's take the peace, the strength, and the understanding, and that little attitude of gratitude, and let's pass it on. Namaste, which means the bright light in me honors and respects the bright light in you. This concludes our practice of chair yoga, fall prevention, or fall prevention using 2 chairs. Let me stop the recording